Are you thinking about moving to Bali or Indonesia? Maybe you're curious about packing up your life and moving overseas. You see people doing it on social media. Maybe you're interested, or maybe you want to do it. Or maybe you're just wanting to see more of the local side of Indonesia and how expats experience that. So we are kind of the antidote of the bule bubble. We don't work online. We don't only hang out with other expats. And we've both pretty well integrated into the Indonesian lifestyle, socially, culturally, economically. So we thought, what better way to delve into some of those topics than start a podcast?
Yay!
Gili Unfiltered.
Where we talk about anything with our own opinion, no filter, straight to the point, and just have fun with it.
Yes, remind me. Fun. Because I come from a journalist background in Australia before, so sometimes I get a little bit too serious, but you might have seen my YouTube channel already. Maybe that's how you're watching us right now. But I decided to get together with Josephine to do something different, get out of my comfort zone a little bit, get into some topics that maybe require a bit of a longer format.
And that's a Chidomo, guys.
Yeah.
Welcome to the island life.
Yeah, it's a horse cart going past.
And now I'm literally distracted. I don't know what I said anymore.
I'll take a coffee. So this is Lombok coffee. If you haven't had it before, it's like sediment based and it's very strong.
Very yum.
Well, how long have you been here in Gili or in Indonesia?
I have been here 5 years now, but I've come the first time in 2019. So before COVID, and then everyone shut down and it was like, cannot go there. So waiting like literally for the moment you could get into, I went back here. What about you? What's the first time you came here?
It's funny. I actually was exactly the same. I first came in like 2016. I've been coming to Bali heaps before that and Lombok as well. But yeah, from 2016. And literally the first time I came here, I was like, I want to be here a lot more than just a little holiday. And it was at the start of 2020. I'd like moved here or was kind of came here one way. I was like, I'm going to figure out how can I move here. And then the pandemic happened.
So you were actually stuck here.
Well, I was here the day when the boat stopped.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, at that time, we were being told it was only going to be 2 weeks closure. So I was like, oh, that's fine. But then one of my friends in government in Australia was like, if you don't come back soon, you won't be able to come back. Like, it's going to get pretty hectic. So, yeah, I went back.
You went back?
So I was the same as you, where then I was like in my home country just thinking about Gili, like, come on. And then when everything opened,
Waiting for
made my
it.
way.
Especially because in Australia it was pretty hard with the COVID part, right? It was very strict.
Just our borders, yeah. So I was in Western Australia, so we had the strictest border, I think, in the world. Like, you couldn't come in or out of Western Australia, even to go to another part of Australia. So it meant that our life during the pandemic was actually pretty normal.
And when did you come back here? What did you do? Where do you come from now?
So I got here in 2022.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a couple of years being in Australia, and then I was just like, whoop, as soon as they started allowing like kind of joy flights, as you'd call it, like not having to move for serious family reason, like you had to get a proper permission if you wanted to leave Australia. But then as soon as it was open for, okay, you're allowed to travel freely, I made my way over.
And then just, what did you do here?
I came here wanting to figure out how to stay here basically, because previously I'd gone back and forth all the time. So I'd work in Australia and then be here on holiday. But because of obviously the kind of new normal at that time, I thought, okay, I'm coming here, but I won't be able to just pop back when I need to top up my bank account. You know, like I need to figure out how to actually stay here. So that's what I did. Yeah. What about you?
So I'm from the Netherlands.
Belanda, as Indonesians call it.
Belanda. So if my English is a bit, if I don't know the words, sorry for that. But I worked in a retail store, you would say, a drugstore in the Netherlands for 2 years, and it was just so tiring with COVID, because like everyone came there like for fun, because it was the only store that opened, and I was just tired of the life there. You know, you just go to work, finish work, come back home, eat, sleep, and like basically do that again every single day. And then on your days off, it's like you just clean, you rest to have energy for your work, and I was really tired of that lifestyle. And I just remember the first time I came to Gili in 2019, how it was so freely here, how you can just like on such a small island, it just feels like a village, you know, like a village in Europe or a village in Australia. It really felt like that. And I really wanted to come back here and first just to see it and figure out if I could actually live here, or like if I could do something here with my life, with, because you need some money, you know, like everyone needs money to maintain like your lifestyle. So I came here in November 2021. First just to chill, because I think I was close to burnout, or like a little bit burned out. So I just did nothing, but then eventually found a job here. And I still have that job after all these years. So that's mainly what I do with my life here.
That's cool.
I know.
I'm excited also to talk about getting a job and setting up business here, because that's probably something that if people are thinking of coming here that they want to do, if they want to come here like the right way, you know, because you see in Bali so many people work online.
Crypto bros, sorry to say that, crypto bros, just like everyone just enjoying the country without contributing to the country, just having, for me, like an escape from the difficult challenges in your own country, where it's like maybe too expensive, too depressing or something, and then you just come here. Not an attack to anyone, but like that's just my feeling, what I see quite a lot here.
Yeah, and I see, you know, people, because of the favourable currency exchange, if you're coming from Europe or Australia and you've got savings and you convert that, you're probably going to be feeling pretty rich. So a lot of people come here for that feeling of like, you know, they probably weren't rich in their home country, and then they come here and they're like, oh my God, I'm living the dream. Yeah. But I think that's the wrong reason to come here, because of it has so many negative impacts on the locals, and you know, we can delve deeper into that later. But
like, I think I could literally talk for hours about those things. Even yesterday, like,
what happened yesterday?
You know, like seeing workers building things, are living temporarily, and they choose for it for themselves as well, in like circumstances you would not see in our own countries. And I felt so sad for them. I wanted to buy them food and all of that, but then you see quite a lot of that from tourists coming here as well, and they filming that and all of that. But for me, it's really like, okay, you filming that, but are you contributing? Like, you are the one living in like one of probably those accommodations that they are building and that they're working so hard for. So like there's like two sides that I find quite difficult to navigate it with.
I see that kind of separation a lot, you know, the bule bubble and then the local world, and we're kind of in between. You know, we can relate to some of the challenges and you know, of moving abroad and things like that. And of course we like our Western cappuccinos and things like that. But yeah, it's so important to integrate to the country where you move. Otherwise, what's the point of moving?
So why do you say that we are more integrated? Or like, what's your story?
Well, I think because for me, the thing that pulled me to this island was the community. Yeah. You know, the friendships that I made with local, it was mostly a group of local musicians who I really connected with on this island. And so every time I would come, I would, you know, go there and they'd be like, welcome home. And they do speak like that to most visitors who come here. But it, I guess, gave me, that feeling of home that I craved, like why I kept traveling, because I was searching for that feeling of home. And there was just something about my friendships that I had here who, you know, I would keep revisiting season after season and getting closer bonds with, and, you know, have deeper connections with, and kind of experience the trials and tribulations of life together with. That was a big part of me wanting to come here. And the weather. I've got to be honest about the weather. Like, but Australia in summer is warm, but in winter it's not as cold as Europe for sure, but it's still not so pleasant. The Australian houses are not built for winter.
Well, Australia's pretty warm when I was there.
It is. You'll go there in winter and still be without a jacket, you'll be fine.
I know. Where are we at now? I think people would like to know what we're doing in life.
Yeah. And it's funny because we're on a tiny island.
Yeah. But we have such completely different stories, actually, and different day-to-day life.
Yeah. And also, island time, like, I feel like island time is so interesting because sometimes, like, the day will just disappear and you're like, how? But then at the same time, I feel like so much has happened since I've moved here.
So what happened?
So I came here ready to just kind of figure out how to stay here and how to not have to go back to work in Australia. Like, I wanted to set up a local business here. At that time I was like, can I work online? But actually at that time you legally couldn't work online in Indonesia. That's a new visa option to be a digital nomad. So when I first moved, I was very much aware that if I wanted to live here, I needed to set up a business here. So that's what I did. When I first got here, I was still just kind of finding my feet and, hanging out with friends, doing a lot of creative projects with friends. And during that time, got closer with one of my close friends who became my partner, romantic partner, and then business partner as well. Yeah, so then set up a business here and very much integrated. So we'll do future episodes, I'm sure, about how to set up a business, how to find a job. But yeah, that's
like
kind of in a nutshell.
In what category is your business?
So we actually have a couple of categories. We're in the tourism business, so we've got accommodation, but our very first part that we started with was actually a recreational space. So we created a co-working space and a creative studio, which includes podcast studio. We're not there right now. We're actually on location at a restaurant just behind us, and a music studio because obviously my partner is a musician and I'm in the video side of things. So we've got this creative space as part of our business, and then we run accommodation as well. You've navigated finding employment.
Yeah, like it's completely different to what you saw, because I didn't had the intention to stay for a long time, like maybe stay for a few months and see where I would go next. And then in the end I stayed for longer, and I was like, okay, my money is running out, I need to work. I tried to navigate the online work as well, but like as somebody who doesn't speak English as the first language, because like most people here, they do teaching, like let's just say like English courses, and then just like super randomly a friend just messaged, hey, this person is looking for a general manager. I went for the interview, which was quite funny because it was one of the first days of Ramadan. I was fasting for the first time, had an interview, showed up there. She's like, you want a drink? And I'm like, no. And she's like, why? I'm like, I'm fasting. Oh, you're Muslim? I'm like, no, not yet. And like I had that whole interview without having a drink. I was just sitting there at a random cafe. Got hired immediately the same day.
Amazing.
Yeah, and like I stuck with that job ever since because really good work conditions. I love working with the people, and like the job is quite a lot of different kind of things that I do. We do have accommodation as well as a restaurant, and just still enjoying it. And I am navigating now, like to see what can I do even more outside of that. It's not that I don't like the job and I don't like the company. I love it. I wish I didn't like it, so I had kind of like a drive to like create something for myself, you know what I mean? But I do, it's itching a bit to see like, okay, what's out there? What can I still do with, I wanted to say partner, but he's my husband now. I'm married as well to an Indonesian man, a local from Lombok. But just to do something together, that's where I am at in my life. I try to be also enjoying the island a bit more, because I do notice I was a bit more into like focus on work again, but I realized like I actually have a lot of freedom to like before, after, like to be flexible with my work, and then like now enjoying the island more. Because I think, I'm not sure about you, but like the first time I came to the island, and like the first few months, years, it was only like in the evenings, chilling with friends, going out, because like Gili is a party island.
Yeah.
And now I kind of switched it more like, I'm awake in the mornings, I'm gonna go out there, there's nobody there, the island is for me only. And just enjoying like our Western cappuccino,
Yeah.
reading a book. I have too many hobbies as well, but
Josephine is the hobby queen.
it's not fun.
That's good, but that rhymes. Josephine, the hobby queen.
But it's not fun. I get decision fatigue, like what I do every day besides work. Like, can you imagine doing this podcast as well, not a hobby?
Yeah.
But I love it.
That's a good thing though, right? Is because you know what you're talking about before of the grind that you experienced in Europe.
Yep.
And you're still grinding here, but I think because you don't have the commute and you know, it's easier kind of before and after work to have that other balance.
And I think as well, just working here, it's so different. People like don't understand the difference culture-wise, location-wise, with how this job would be. Like, I've been a manager in the Netherlands, but it's a whole opposite of like working here. Like I can talk for hours about this. In general, I can talk for hours. That's why I'm doing this podcast. I love talking. But like in one sentence, like I'm working as much as in the Netherlands, maybe even more, but it doesn't feel like that. Just because of where you are.
Yeah. Why were you fasting?
I think it had something to do with like knowing more about the culture here, because like Gili is a Muslim population.
I mean, we're part of Lombok, not Bali.
Yeah,
So
we're in Lombok.
Is the island of 1,000 mosques, and Gili is an extension of that.
Yeah, and like many people don't know that if they are here. So like basically, I think 90% of here people are Muslim. Not real facts, just saying that it's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's what I always use. Majority. And everyone was talking about Ramadan and fasting, and that's such, you know it from your own country, but it's more like separated, like it's a whole other culture of like those immigrants that do fast, and like you don't know a lot about it. And like when you're here, everyone get hyped up, everyone talked about it, and I was like, okay, let me just try like for a day. And then I stuck with it, because like also some people said like, bet you cannot do it for a month, and I'm like, challenge accepted. No, and it was just so nice. Like people said like it's really good for your body, which is true. And just the moments of like hanging out with your friends, waiting till you can eat again, waking up in the night at 3 because of like the people coming and saying like it's time to eat, to start preparing for the day. That really helped me being more integrated with the local culture. And I think what we talked about, like we don't want to be in our bule bubble. I think this is literally our term now, bule bubble. And that's why,
sphere.
yeah, and yeah, so that's why I was just fasting, and I didn't want to break it just to impress a potential new boss. I think she was even more impressed of me fasting, because she's like, I don't think she's drinking or like smoking. She's hired.
Yeah. That's what got you the job.
Yeah.
Now that's really good. I tried it once. Well, I kind of tried it. I still drank water, but I did it once during the pandemic when I was in Australia, just because I was missing Gili. Yeah, because I just was missing Gili so much, and I was like, this is a way I can feel some connection to my local friends.
That's
So
sweet.
yeah, it was an interesting experience.
And you do integrate with it as well. Same like I remember last year doing Ramadan, you hold like this whole Australian barbecue kind of vibe, but then for buka puasa, which is like open fasting. I love that, like that mix of two cultures.
Yeah. Religion is such a big part of Indonesian culture. It's even on your ID card what religion you are. But there's a really good understanding of how important tolerance is. So people who are Muslim, Hindu, Christian, they're all, you know, we're all doing buka puasa together. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we weren't fasting, but we were doing the eating at the end of the day together.
I forgot now as well, because your partner isn't even Muslim.
No.
And you guys organized it.
Yeah. That's what I love about Indonesia. There's so much culture and you need to experience it. Don't be in the bule bubble. Then,
Gili tea.
Oh, Gili tea. Who's up for some tea? I love a bit of tea.
What they say on the island, it is a gossip island. Like, if you hear something, it goes around. If you tell somebody something, everyone knows. But gossip sounds very negative. Spill the tea.
I don't have any tea. I've only got news.
We'll start with news first.
So news is you probably saw the absolute tragedy that this island suffered a short time ago with a massive fire.
Which started really small, and I think it could have been prevented if there were the right people there.
Yeah, and
But
infrastructure
then,
and
yeah.
that's one of the challenges of living in a kind of remote and
And
developing kind of
it's
area.
just a situation of like, what if?
But thank God no one died, or I think there was a minor injury of a firefighter,
Yeah.
but luckily it could have been so much worse, so thank goodness for that.
How many businesses were there? Like 7?
It was around like 5 major buildings, and then in some of those
Yeah,
buildings
right.
there was a couple of businesses. So yeah, but the I guess biggest one that travelled the most online is Summer Reggae Bar,
Yeah.
because that is an institution of Gili Trawangan. It was the first live music venue. I think that certainly for me, and I feel like for many tourists, that is the place where you go when you're on Gili Trawangan.
That's also what I tell like people that come here. Like, if you want a good mix of local and Western vibes, go to Sama Reggae Bar. Like, that's a Gili staple that you need to experience. So that got burned down.
Yeah, that was absolutely heartbreaking, seeing that happen. But the good news is that they're rebuilding straight away.
Really
like,
fast.
Even the day after the fire, they were already doing acoustic music on the beach side. And since that time, they've already, got music equipment and are doing their kind of normal schedule programming just on the beach side while they rebuild the main hall.
And I think that's like really a spirit of like many locals here. They don't like, of course it's sad, of course people do have a cry or like, things like that. But what I do see is when you talk with people, like even like other businesses of that were burned down, they're like, yeah, what happened. We need to look forward. How are we gonna continue and move forward with it?
People are very, very resilient here.
Yeah.
I think that's for sure part of the culture, and here we've seen over the years, like we've had earthquake, pandemic, there was,
So much.
kind of influences on the tourism industry from the volcano ash, like all these things that people just keep moving forward and keep
Because they have to
coming
be
back.
fair, like you have to on this island,
Yeah.
because otherwise you're not gonna survive.
Yeah.
Sounds like really like straight to the point, but like, yeah, you're not gonna survive if you don't.
Yeah. So that is the best news, that Sama is still alive and
Yeah.
they're coming back bigger and better.
I'm excited to see how it's gonna be.
The new form,
Yeah.
and because the heart and soul is still going to be the same. It'll have different walls and building, but it's still definitely going to be the same vibe. I'm so excited.
And as well, like the community of Gili is quite strong. So like one other business, Irish Bar, Tinanok, they held like a raffle and like a concert fundraiser. All the money goes straight into rebuilding Sama, and I really love that people here are helping each other with that.
Yeah, the community, is very supportive of each other here, which is amazing. And Sama, I think the community love it so much as well, not just for the fun times, but the fact that they are always there for everyone. Like, they were one of the only places that stayed open through the entire pandemic for
I
the local
know.
community. Like, they were still helping people to survive, to get some small income, for what scale that they could operate throughout the entire time when most other places just closed and disappeared. So
I've had like the best memories in Sama. Also, during the pandemic or like near the end, and the day that like all the boats were running again, or like the first people coming from Bali, and then the first Sama Saturday, and then looking like, oh, there's so many people here again. Like, Gili is coming back. Oh, I loved it.
Yeah,
Were you there as well?
I was there in that transition period of when it was still like really small, and then at that time you'd go down the street and a new place would open again, and then a new place. I was at that time of kind of the rebirth of Gili after the pandemic, and I feel emotional just thinking about it. That's why we love Gili.
Me too. Of course.
So this is the language.
We don't have like a name for it. We need a nice name. So if we found a name, it will be here. It'll be written like thing.
The bahasa
Of the day.
bahasa of the day. So a huge part of coming into the culture here is learning the language. I see so many lazy tourists in Bali because pretty much everyone in the tourism industry can speak English, but you should still be trying to learn the local language.
Bisa bahasa Indonesia?
Bisa.
Okay. Just testing her there. So that's why we want to introduce word of the episode.
Yeah.
Or two words, one from me and one from Roxy. Yeah, it's basically a random word that stuck with us for like the last few days and that we just want to share with you. So you guys also know a little bit of Indonesian and not just like your standard like selamat pagi.
Yeah, satu bir.
Terima kasih. Bintang. Bintang is actually star, not bear.
Yeah. My favorite word of the Indonesian language. First, I'll preface it by telling you the reason it's my favorite, because language helps you to understand culture, because it's not just a word-for-word translation all the time. Like, there are unique words that there are not exact translations for in other languages, and that is my favorite word, which is semangat.
Really?
Yeah.
But there is a translation, no?
Not exact. Like, it basically means keep in good spirits.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought good luck.
Yeah. There's various kind of nuances to the meaning. Like, you would use the word semangat, like, if you're working really hard on something and, to try to, like, amp up your friend. Like, I'm a cheerleader for my friends. Like, I will pump up people who are doing something like they're working hard or they've got an idea or whatever it is. I'm always like, semangat, like, just, you got it. That's basically
That's
the
a good
meaning.
one. That's a good one. My word is more funny and just what I've been thinking about the past couple of days. I don't even know if it's an Indonesian word, but I think it is.
Well, you better check.
Should I check now? No.
What is it?
Markisa? Is it Indonesian or not?
Makisa. We'll ask our producer over there.
It's Indonesian, right? Markisa? The fruit? Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah, no, it's passion fruit. But I always call it passion fruit. And then when people, like the last couple of days, my good friend keeps saying, ada markisa? And I'm like, markisa, what is it? Or I ask my staff and I'm like, what? Because now it's passion fruit season. So that's a word that stuck with me. And now I forever remember passion fruit is markisa.
That's nice.
So I'm more of a fun word.
And you know what's funny? Passion, the meaning of passion in English, and the word makisa has the word kiss in it. That's so cute.
Didn't think that far, but yes.
It's obviously not part of the origin of the word, but that's how I remember words, is I make little like kind of word plays. Yeah.
Well, I remember it because like people keep saying it and I don't know what it is and I'm like, asking, what is it? And then I know.
So there you go. Now you know 2 words of Indonesian.
One more thing.
Oh, yeah?
Usually we'll start with where we are.
Uh-huh.
But since it was an introduction episode, I thought we would do it at the end of this episode.
Okay, yep.
Where are we recording from?
So we are at a little restaurant called Wajan Family. There are 3 Wajans on this island.
I know, right? It started with 1.
Very, very good food.
I know.
Good
Do you
price.
have a favorite?
Yes, my favorite is the seafood pad thai.
Really?
You seem surprised. What's yours?
Because I've never tried that before.
Definitely
I might try it tonight then.
What's your favorite here?
So it's not on the menu.
Oh.
But if you ask for the lalapan tempeh, it is so good how they fry the tempeh. And basically, if you're vegetarian, go for that. Because when I was still eating vegetarian, I had that almost every single day.
Nice.
Not really good because it's all fried, but it was really yummy with the sambal. And like, I loved it.
We can do a full interactive video one in the future where we're trying the food for you.
No.
And why not?
Oh my God. I am
Let's do
so
it.
excited for that episode.
We've got a list of episodes that we want to get into. As we said before, we're in Gili, which is part of Lombok. So I think it'll be really good to go into the difference between Bali and Lombok, which is very different. Most people think Bali is Indonesia. They're, oh, I've done Indonesia. They've been to like
No.
2 places in Bali. Like, come on, bro.
Cheng.
There's a big world out there.
Nope.
So we'll get into some of that. We'll get into some of, I mean, you had a Muslim wedding here in Indonesia.
I did. Yeah.
Get into some of that.
A lot of like just culture and local things.
And some of the challenges that we have faced in moving, which are probably more general for a broad audience. Like maybe you're an expat in another country and you can relate. Like I published one recently on my YouTube channel that resonated with quite a few people of, you know, the regrets that I had that I wish I knew before I'd moved. So that's
Really
probably going to
good.
be helpful if any of you are thinking of moving.
And if you do have suggestions for topics that we can talk about or that you want to know, let us know by either commenting down below if you're on YouTube, on Spotify. I don't know how that works. Maybe you need to find our social medias,
We'll be on definitely Instagram and YouTube.
everything, and TikTok.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You can do TikTok.
I'm like the half Gen Z here.
Hey, don't call me old.
I am the same age, but like,
we're in the same decade. So.
yeah, we're in the same decade, but like I feel like sometimes I'm a bit more Gen Z with everyone here. Literally with everyone.
All right. So if you can follow the podcast, subscribe wherever you're watching and or listening, and we'll see and speak to you in the next one.
Bye. Just ends. I always do that. I know. Bye. We did it.